Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my friend DouglieDoWrong. Douglie, how you doing tonight?
I'm probably doing better than you are.
Oh God, it's so sad that this franchise just continues to put us Jet fans through this. It's like a never-ending cycle. At least you guys got Marino. You look like you got Tua Tagovailoa in the wings, and I'm just praying that I could get some hope out of a season that is otherwise lost for the New York Jets. Guys, if you have not subbed up DouglieDoWrong, check the link down in the description. He is a great Dolphins YouTuber. I follow all our cohorts in the AFC East to try and get inside info, and Douglie is certainly one of the best. I try to model some of what I do on this channel off what he's done, so make sure you check him out over there. All right, so Douglie, why don't you tell the cockpit just who you are, what you're about, how you got started, and then we'll jump into a Week 6 recap.
So, diehard Dolphins fan, actually have it tattooed on the forearm, in the sleeve. Got it added in there. Been a Dolphins fan since '95, born in '87, so I was around 8 years old when I really started following the Dolphins. Fun fact, born and raised in New Jersey, Northeast New Jersey, so I'm in enemy territory. I'm actually about 15-20 minutes from the stadium, so it's pretty funny that I'm a diehard Dolphins fan with this setup, and I'm literally really close to the Jet Stadium. But I've been doing this for 2 years, have a degree in media, and thought take my degree and my love for the football team, put them together, and started doing Dolphins on YouTube. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That is awesome. That's really cool. So you're actually pretty close to me then.
Yeah, I probably am. Yeah,
I'm like probably 15 minutes from the stadium, like maybe 25 minutes from the stadium, going up towards like Sussex County.
Okay, yeah, you're probably. I bet you we are very close to each other. Very close to each other.
Another interesting tidbit: I actually went to school for film too. And,
did you really?
I did. Yes, I went to school for film. I wound up working in the ski and snowboard industry, and now I'm in the golf industry. And I wanted to stay fresh on editing techniques and whatnot. And one of my things that I, was trying to get into, I was actually going to start a YouTube channel totally unrelated from the Jets, but I wasn't sure how I talked on camera. So I was like, let's talk about something I know about. And, one thing led to another, and now I'm, complaining about the Jets on the internet. So it is what it is. But
yeah, it's funny because I started my channel doing shorts and I have my scenes on there, and I have a second YouTube channel where I play video games with my other two buddies. So yeah, it's funny that we kind of both started the same.
Oh, very interesting. Now, I want to get your thoughts. I know a lot of my viewers despise our head coach. You had to go through it. Talk to me. Tell me your thoughts on Adam Gase and what you guys went through down in Miami.
His biggest downfall and his biggest fault is his stubbornness. Like, he came into Miami in 2016. I was like, all right, he had that little backstory with Peyton Manning. He was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator. Oh, he's the offensive guru. Once that started getting thrown around, it was just ridiculous. But he had nothing to do with Peyton Manning's success. Like, we all know that. It had to do with Peyton Manning being like, Gase, I got this. Just stand there and you could take the credit. But 2016, he came in and we went 10-6 and got a wild card spot. And a lot of Dolphin fans were like, hey, do we have something here? 2017 came. He got bad luck after bad luck with the hurricane, with the linebacker disappearing, with the defensive line coach and the off the field issues and all that stuff. Like, he had a ton of bad luck. So we were like, all right. And then Ryan Tannehill got injured. So we were like, let's see what he could do in 2018. And then it was kind of, that's 2018 is where us Dolphin fans started seeing what you Jet fans are seeing year like 1.5 even, where the Colts game, I forgot how much they were up by or they were down by, but it was 3-13 and they ran the ball. And you're just like, do you not trust Ryan Tannehill? Like, what do you do? Stubborn. Like, I bet you don't like this phrase, just like Dolphin fans don't like this phrase, but we got sick and tired of bubble screens.
Dude, it's brutal. It's bad. It's like this guy's. If I have to watch Frank Gore run up the A gap one more time, I might like go on a baby punching rampage. Like that. That's just how it like feels week in and week out. It's like, oh, you know what? 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Let's do something really stupid, and then we're down by 3 scores. Let's not go for it because why not?
And that's his thing though, because I just saw recently that he still won't give up play calling duty. And that's just, he's stubborn. If he wasn't so stubborn and he learned from his mistakes and he made changes, he'd be a really good coach. But he's just so stubborn that he's never going to be a good coach. He might as well just go back to being an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think he gets another coaching job in the NFL after what happened in Miami and what happened, with New York for these at least season and a half. I get the feeling that he's not going to be fired midseason. The Johnsons have never fired a head coach in season before, and I think with some of the turmoil that we're starting to hear between Greg Williams and Adam Gase, I think they're going to try and make Greg Williams the scapegoat for right now. I think that also helps us get the the number 1 overall pick. Like, I don't really want to move on from Adam Gase until after the season. I know it's kind of bad, but I'm really not rooting for any wins at this point.
Yeah, man. If you don't want to win, if you want to get Lawrence and you want that 1st overall pick, keep Gase. That's all I'm gonna say. But no one. And again, I feel bad. I live in the area, so I see it firsthand. Jets, they will go on like a 3-game winning streak and lose it.
No, what's gonna happen is we're gonna go into the tail end of the season. We're gonna be in prime position, and the Patriots are gonna rest all their starters because they're going to the playoffs, and the Jets are gonna win some stupid game. We're gonna get the 3rd pick. We're gonna get fucking Joe Schmo from wherever to be our head coach, and they're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna reinvest in Darnold, and then they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna pay him a ton of money, and then wash, rinse, repeat. We're back here in 4 years.
Watch the Dolphins have the Texans 1st and 2nd overall pick. Watch the Texans get ahead of the Jets somehow, and the Dolphins are ahead of the Jets in the 1st round.
I would cry. I would absolutely cry. I'm looking at like all the schedules, and I'm following like all the teams that are potentially threats to this number 1 pick. I'm not really concerned about the Giants and the Reds or Washington football team. I think they're going to beat up on themselves enough that someone's going to get 2-3 wins. The Jaguars, they kind of scare me. They're a team that's like sneaky bad, but could be good. Like, kind of depends which Minshew you get. I don't know. I think I'm looking at the Jets season. I don't see a win on the rest of this like schedule. Like, it's hard to begin with, and the way they're playing.
My boss is a Jets fan, and he was like, what do you see? Because I think you guys were like 0-2 or 0-3 at that point, and he was like, do you see the Jets winning at any point in the season? I started looking through, and I was like, oh, you're playing that, and I was like, no, I don't. Like, I'm trying to like,
sugarcoat it.
And it's my boss, so I'm trying to be like, oh no, yeah, look, you could potentially beat the Cardinals, or you could potentially,
like, the Broncos are right there.
Yeah, well, I'm just like, nah, man, I don't see it. I don't see it. I said that too. I was like, the Broncos, they don't have Locke playing the Broncos. You could potentially win that one. God, you can't beat the Broncos without Locke. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Dude, it crushes me because I really believe in Sam Darnold. I think wherever he winds up going, he's going to wind up in a good situation, like whether it's Pittsburgh, New Orleans, the Colts, something like that. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I just don't think the Jets are equipped to make him that quarterback.
And it sucks because it's kind of like the same situation with Ryan Tannehill, Look at Ryan Tannehill now in Tennessee. Got a great offensive line in front of him. He's got the bull in Derrick Henry. He's got a good defense around him. I've been saying forever with Ryan Tannehill. I've been a Ryan Tannehill fan. I still am a Ryan Tannehill fan, but he's not that guy. He's not like a Patrick Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers where it's like, oh, I don't have these things, I'll make up for it. He's a guy that, oh, you give me these things, I will make them look good. Like, I will take complete advantage of them. And it's going to be the same thing with Sam Darnold. He's going to get moved on. Watch him get like traded to like the Colts or something, and then he's just going to become good.
Well, that's just it. He's going to get an offensive line. The Colts are going to be like, haha, we traded back and we got the quarterback of the future. Like, after, like, forethought, we knew Luck was going to retire and we got Sam Darnold. No, that's I honestly, my NFC team is the Saints, so I would love to see him go work with like Sean Payton down there.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. I just want to see him do well. I want to see Bell do well with the Chiefs. I want to see Robbie Anderson do well with Carolina, and then I want to see like Tannehill continue to do well, because then that sort of gives the Jets, I don't want to say like a little bit of leverage, but I feel like teams would be more apt to say like, oh, it's Gase's fault, not the players. So Sam could be better than what we're getting. Because I think right now, I think we'd be lucky probably to get a second-round pick for Sam. I think there's probably going to be some team like the Steelers or the Colts that would be willing to give up a later second-round pick for him. If Jet fans want that to be a higher pick, we're going to need Sam to ball out the rest of the season. And I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, definitely. You hit on because it's the same thing kind of with the Dolphins and Brian Flores, right? Like last year, Brian Flores won 5 games with practice squad players because by the time the Dolphins started winning, a lot of their starters were injured, like Rashad Jones, and like a lot of these guys started getting injured. So Dolphins just started poaching practice squad players, and they would come in and he would have them playing 7 days later. Like, oh, you're going in. Like Nick Needham, I need you to play all of a sudden because Xavier Howard got banged up. He's down. And then all of a sudden you see these free agents looking at the Dolphins and like, if Brian Flores can win with these practice squad players, and if Brian Flores can take Eric Rowe from corner to safety and make him good enough to get a contract extension, what can he do for me? And then that's when people are like, I want to play for Brian Flores. And it's the same thing with you guys. You see all these players leave Adam Gase and does better, then you're like, well, it's not the organization, it's the head coach. And now that the head coach is gone, I'm going to go play for him, especially if you get Bieniemy. Oh, my God. You know how many free agents would come running to the Jets to play with Bieniemy with what he's doing with the Kansas City Chiefs?
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm actually not against Bieniemy at all. I think there's probably something to why he wasn't selected to be a head coach the last 2 off seasons. But I think he's probably going to go to the Texans. I think he's going to work with Watson down there. I think he, having the established quarterback kind of makes it, I don't want to say a little bit easier, but, maybe not quite as much pressure. I hope the Jets go after someone. I don't know. Our free agent outlook looks so bad. That's why I say like we need to get the first overall pick because then we'll attract the good head coach. It'll be whether it's Joe Brady from Carolina or Brian Daboll from Buffalo
Bills.
or anyone from the college ranks or anyone that could potentially. A lot of Jet fans want Dabo Sweeney from Clemson. Just bring him, Trevor Lawrence. We'll get ETN up here.
Even the offensive coordinator from the Carolina Panthers,
I like Joe Brady a lot.
Yeah, he's been doing really well with Teddy Bridgewater. Bring him in. But if you get Dabo Sweeney and you get Lawrence, that's just the perfect combination. He knows how to use them.
Well, that's just it. Like if you can, depending on who you get for head coach. Like, they're going to go with Trevor Lawrence if they have that number 1 pick. So now all of a sudden free agents are looking around. They're like, okay, well, that's what's going on over there. Like, they seem a little more interesting because the last few years you had Kirk Cousins, Dante Hightower, Anthony Barr take less money than what the Jets offered to go back to their other teams. So there's like a Jets tax in free agency, and it sucks. Like there's a slew of guys over the course of the last like 5-6 years that we've just signed to free agent contracts that have just failed us miserably. Like big contracts: Revis, Wilkerson, Tremaine Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley. Like the list goes on and on. Quincy Enunwa. These free agent contracts, brutal. We had like 189 million of just cap, just blown on players that are not playing for us.
You're preaching to the choir with that one because I can raffle down the list of Brandon Albert, Mike Wallace, Donnell Ellerby, and Ndamukong Suh. We gave him $110 million. We cut him 2-3 seasons later, and then we were still dead cap. I think it wasn't until last year that we stopped having dead cap from Ndamukong Suh's contract. Ridiculous. That's where it all stops. Like the dead cap stopped for the Dolphins last year, and that's where all of a sudden this offseason we had so much money that we got out, and Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy. But even with those guys with the Dolphins, we didn't give them a lot of money. With like Kyle Van Noy, Emmanuel Ogbah, Shaq Lawson, we can cut them after 2 years, and there's no dead cap. Like they were really smart about their contracts this year. Byron Jones is a horse of different color though. He got a lot of money.
Well, that's just it. I mean, he was the top corner hitting the market, so you had to expect that was going to be a prime.
And he's not
deal.
even the top paid corner anymore. He's like the 4th.
No. Yeah, no. You look at that list. I want to say Slay was paid like right after him, and then, I mean, Tre'Davious White's up there. I'm trying to think who else got paid recently, but yeah, I thought the Byron Jones contract was like, wow, they overpaid for that, and then boom, 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 boom. Right after, I was like, oh, maybe not.
I thought the same thing about Xavier Howard. I was like, wow, they gave him a lot of money, and he's been banged up. He hasn't played a full season, and then all of a sudden, it's just like he's now like 7th. He was at first at one, and they just keep. That's the thing that sucks about free agency, especially like the quarterbacks and stuff. They keep getting paid more and more. It's like, come on, guys. Now it's just unfair for the rest of the team. It's just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't make sense when you're trying to allocate salary cap to like more important positions. The Jets kind of got caught in that. We're paying running back, inside linebacker, D tackle who can't rush the passer right now. Like literally, we're investing in safety. We've drafted 2 back to back the other like 4 years ago now. It's just allocating resources to non-premium positions is kind of where the Jets have sort of gotten themselves wrapped up in a bunch of problems. Like I think the Jets are probably going to have a fire sale. You're probably going to look to try and move Crowder, Marcus May, and Quinn and Williams for some sort of assets. In your thought process, how much did you like that the Dolphins broke it down completely and went with the draft picks, or are you a little salty that they got rid of Tunsil and some of the other players?
At first, when they got rid of Tunsil, I was like, all right. Like, I hated hearing the whole tanking situation, and I honestly still don't think the Dolphins are tanking. I get a lot of flack for saying that. But when they first traded Tunsil, I was like, are they tanking? Like, what are they doing? And then I saw that we got 2 firsts and a second, and then we got, Landon Roberts and stuff, and I was like, not Landon Roberts. We got the left tackle Davenport. I was like, all right, well, what are they doing here? Like that one didn't bother me that much because even Laramie Tunsil said like I would have traded myself for 2 firsts and a second in a heartbeat, and it's kind of paying off because if the Texans keep sucking, Dolphins got really good, and Laramie Tunsil has no impact on how good or bad they're playing. So I'm like, all right. Then you have the Mika Fitzpatrick trade, and that. I've been on record multiple times on my videos, my live streams. I don't like Mika Fitzpatrick anymore. He came from St. Peter's Prep, which it's right there. We know him. And when he started doing his baby thing and when he started complaining about playing different positions, and then he came out with his story, which was a little suspect. And like the Dolphins sat down 3 times and tried to talk to the kid. And he was just like, no, I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. And then he goes to another team. And when he goes to that other team, he does well for 3 games and then he disappears. And then this offseason, he's like, oh, I'm going to play multiple positions so I'm around the ball more. I was like, screw you, dude. Like, seriously? And he still disappeared. Like, he's not having that good of a season this year. So it's like, whatever. We got the first. We used that for Austin Jackson, who's playing really well. He got banged up. And then Kenyon Drake's trade, it's just the Dolphins tried to re-sign him. He was like, look, I want to test the market. Dolphins were like, all right, well, we might as well get something for you. And he's playing all right. So, and all the trades that the Dolphins made, which a lot of people thought was a fire sale, let's get rid of talent to accumulate picks. The only one that kind of shocked me was the Tunsil one, but in the end, it worked out. So, I think it all panned out. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because the Jets were very much in line with how the Bills were building. Like the Jets and Bills were kind of like one after the other. You're watching the trade up in that 2018 draft. It's like, okay, the Bills are moving up. Now the Jets jump ahead and they're kind of figuring out this arms race and then how they're building their rosters. And this season, it just went off the rails for the Jets, and it feels like we're more in line with where the Dolphins were last year. So it seems like we're going to just release everyone. I mean, getting rid of Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is having the worst season of his career right now with the 32nd ranked Seattle Seahawks defense. I don't know if they're still 32nd. They're towards the bottom of the pack, though. I'm real happy with that trade. Two firsts and a third, I think it was a 3rd round pick, and then a starting safety. Again, our defense probably doesn't have anyone on it. CJ Mosley opting out. Now we're not going to have him for basically 2 years. We played 3/4 of the first game against the Bills last season. Who knows what he's even going to be like next year?
You guys paid a lot. That was a big move too, because when he hit free agency, I wanted the Dolphins to grab C.J. Mosley. I wanted the Dolphins to draft C.J. Mosley and the Ravens right before. Ravens have a history of right before the Dolphins pick taking somebody I want every freaking year. Because last year I kind of wanted J.K. Dobbins, and then all of a sudden they took J.K. Dobbins, but we got Raekwon Davis. I was happy about that. But yeah, you guys just got to find that coach, because I think I feel like you guys got the GM. I do like the GM, especially with his facial reactions yesterday, with him rubbing his face and stuff.
I love Joe Douglas. He's the one person in this regime that, like, I know some of the stuff didn't work. Like he brought in Ryan Khalil at center last year, flopped. But you're coming through after free agency, you come through after the draft. There's not really many pieces left. Like I like some of the swings that he's taken. It's just it doesn't seem like we're getting the coaching aspect. So I don't know. It's really I don't know who the Jets are going to try and go after. I know my fear with Joe Brady in Carolina is that he's coaching under Matt Rule, and Matt Rule was in line for the Jets position. He wanted to get the Jets position. He's from the area. And the Jets said, okay, you have to take Greg Williams. We have to select your coaching staff. And he's like, nah, I'm out. So is Joe Brady going to be like, if Matt Rule's he's like, dude, don't go to the Jets. That's what I'm worried about. Like, that would suck. I like Joe Brady a lot.
That's what, and it's funny because those little football connections, that's what a lot of people were afraid about with the Dolphins. A lot of people were afraid that Mika Fitzpatrick was going to go to Tua and be like, don't go to the Dolphins. They draft you. Don't go there because this and that. So yeah, I totally feel you on that because that's the biggest thing with getting a new head coach. Yeah, the head coach needs to know what he's doing, but he also needs to put the right people around him. So yeah, it's tricky because last year the Dolphins had Chad O'Shea, which he was all right. He wasn't great, and then Patrick Graham went to the Giants. Dolphins are doing better though this season with the new people around them. Brian Flores realized I need a little bit more experience around me, so he brought in Chan Gailey to help him, which about Chan Gailey.
Sure, yeah. I have no hate for him. We just didn't have much of a roster when he was here either. The issue with the Jets has just been terrible drafting for the last 10 years. I think maybe the last 15 years. I think we've had 2 second-round picks that we've actually hit on. Marcus May, and then I think it's David Harris back in like 2008 or like 7, like man, so long ago. It's just bust after bust. You can't flop your second round pick that many times and expect to have a competent team.
Now, would you be upset if they traded the guy you picked first, Williams?
Quinnen? No, I would not. Yeah. I like him. I think he could be good. Defensive tackles tend to have a little bit of a longer maturation process. Like you look at some of the guys around the league, and his first year compared to their first years were eerily similar. I think if you add an edge rusher to him, he probably becomes a lot more lethal. But that said, if you are drafting Trevor Lawrence 1 overall, I'm cool with just eviscerating this defense of all talent, get as much talent as you can on the offensive side. We've seen what happens to Geno Smith, to Mark Sanchez, to Sam Darnold when you don't have weapons around them. You don't build up this team. I would be very much in favor of trading Williams if we can get a first-round pick. If I don't even care where it is really. If we're picking 20th, perfect. I'm fine with that. I'll take a receiver there, or an edge rusher, something like that. I have not that I dislike the guy at all, but I just think it's get rid of the old regime's guys, bring in your own.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what a lot of people. Once Brian Flores came in, that's why all of a sudden a lot of people started getting traded because it's like you're not my guy. And that's why Ryan Tannehill got traded. A lot of people thought Ryan Tannehill got traded for X, Y, and Z reasons. They were a little bit, little aspects of it, but it was more. Brian Flores is like, look, you've been here 7 years, you're just not my guy, and I'm gonna have to find my guy, and it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's what you got to do. It makes sense. Steven, thank you for the super chat. He says, would Joe Douglas trade the number 1 for a haul and draft Fields? I would not do that. I'm taking Lawrence all day. I'm not touching Fields. I actually like Trey Lance more than I like Justin Fields. Now that may be wrong. Who knows? But Trevor Lawrence, dude's lost 1 game in college. I think he was one of the highest graded recruits coming out of high school. Just he hasn't disappointed at any stretch. The dude's 6'6", runs like a gazelle, has a cannon for an arm. You don't get rid of a unicorn. You take the unicorn and run. That's what it seems like.
But that's like so enticing. It's like how much picks you can get for that one, because a lot of people are gonna want Lawrence. A lot of people. You would get a lot of firsts.
Did you see how many teams are like 1 win or below?
Yes.
I think it's like 10. I think it's like 10 teams. Let me pull up real quick. I'll pull up the Tankathon. It's like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So 10 teams have 1 win or less. Jets leading the way, 0-6. Then you got Washington, the Giants, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Minnesota, Houston, the Chargers, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati, all with 1 win or less.
That's crazy.
Jets have to go winless.
Yeah, right.
They gotta go winless.
I honestly think a lot of that has to do with there being no preseason and there being no true training camp, because normally you use the preseason games to kind of get acclimated, get back into the groove, start playing against somebody, not your own guys. So, those first 4 weeks of the season were kind of the preseason. That's why, like, the Dolphins all of a sudden started playing better on defense and offense recently. So I think you'll start to see those, like the Texans, unfortunately, as much as I would like them to get like the second overall pick, I think they'll probably start winning some more games, because they were close. They almost beat the Tennessee Titans. If it wasn't for a few plays here and there, that whole game went to overtime. So I think you can breathe easy. But like I said, the Jets are the Jets. They did take a tight end that one year in the first round.
We took a kicker in the second round the one year. It's like year after year we do something stupid, and I trust in Joe Douglas. I think he's like getting rid of Bell. I was frustrated more so because we were giving up on Sam. I think that was more my like, really? That's where this is ending. Like, I feel bad. Sam's got to get trotted out there for these next 10 games, and it's like, dude, we are moving on from you. Like, that's. But then what happens if you get the third pick? Are you trying to trade up to get Trevor Lawrence, or are you? Like, what is that, like, scenario? I have no idea.
Yeah, you'd really have to, like, figure out the big difference between Trevor Lawrence and then the second guy on your board. How big of a difference is it? And is it worth it to build your team around this person completely? Yeah.
Yeah, and then, or is it worth, if you're picking, say, second, third, do you take Jamar Chase, the wide receiver from LSU, and surround Darnold with talent? Like, are you just going all in with Sam and you're just like, hey, we're going to try and figure it out? Like, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have to make a decision on Sam's fifth-year option this offseason, because he'll finish his third year this year, fourth year's next year. It's going to be like $25 million for Sam. And I like Sam, but I don't know if you can devote that kind of money to him right now. If you don't get the first pick, I could consider it. I guess worst case scenario, you just build the team up like crazy, and then you tank for the next quarterback, and then you have a team built around him. Like, I don't know, but then you got to make sure the coach doesn't want new players, and then it's a whole clusterfuck. It really is.
A lot of people thought that that's what the Dolphins were doing in 2019 when they started adding players. They drafted the players they drafted, and then they got their quarterback in Tua. And it's funny because everyone was like, "Oh, Dolphins are tanking for Tua," and then we win 5 games and we still got Tua.
Tua, yeah.
It panned out.
Dude, him hurting himself last year was probably the best thing that could have happened to you guys. I mean, maybe you would have wound up with Burrow instead, which probably not the worst thing either. But
the best and the worst, because for the longest time after he got hurt, that's all I had to hear about being a Dolphin YouTuber is, no, we shouldn't take him because injury history, and no, the hip, and he's gonna take one hit, he's gonna get knocked out. If he didn't get injured, I honestly think he would have went 1. He would have went to Cincinnati, and I think another team would have traded up to 2, kind of like the whole
to get Burrow.
The Lock Wentz situation. Not Lock.
Yeah,
Wentz.
yeah.
You know what I'm
saying? Goff and Wentz.
There you go. The 1-2 situation. I think that would have happened if Tua never got injured, but he did, and he fell right to 5.
And I watched your recap of the game, and 2 passes. You're pretty excited for Tua Tagovailoa. It's still watching. Tell the cockpit just how, like, I know it's only 2 passes, but the way you worded it was nice. I kind of liked it.
I was excited. It's just a change. It's like, the last quarterback we took in the first round was Tannehill, and he started right away. David Garrard was supposed to start. David Garrard throughout the whole training camp was doing better. And David Garrard hurt his knee playing basketball. And it's like, Tannehill, this is your show. Boom. And then for 7 years, he never had competition. So it was just Tannehill. And it's just, there's so much promise with this kid. And the fact that they're slow cooking him, the fact that he's not being rushed out there, because, there's that whole comparison with him and Burrow and him and Herbert. It's like, why are they playing and he's not? Well, if anybody else was in front of Joe Burrow, he wouldn't be playing. And if Tyrod Taylor's lung didn't get punctured, Herbert wouldn't be playing. And I like that Tua is getting slow cooked, but the fact that he finally went out,
finally saw the field.
Yeah, it was just like,
it's exciting.
It is. It like like with Mark Sanchez, like once you guys got someone out there and he was like he made that first throw and you're like, oh, that was crisp. All right, let's see what else he could do. And then you're like, the first down for the Dolphins all game came from Tua. You're like, all right. And then he sat on the 15-yard line for an hour after the game was over, just like taking it in. It's like you can't not love this kid. He loved with it. It's not like he came back out with like a t-shirt on. He still had his shoulder pads on. And someone who playing football, you want to take those suckers off. Pat McAfee said it in his podcast. He's like, you want to take those shoulder pads off, and that's why they're always doing that. It's just, it rides on.
Not comfortable. Yeah.
And he was sitting on the 15, shoulder pads on, just sucking, just embracing it, just like
he video chatted his parents, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And somebody actually brought it up to me that that's where he actually got injured. I don't know if that's true or not, but like on the 15,
I heard it was
where he got injured, so he kind of like he took a minute to be like, I made it, and it's time will tell. But
dude,
a lot of people are
check.
like, is he going to start now? No. Fitz will be the starter versus the Rams after our bye. A lot of, as much as we want to start, he's not going to start.
Now, do you think they will play him if the situation arises where you don't make the playoffs, like you get knocked out and then they just kind of see what they have in him? Or do you think they just sort of ride with Fitz all year, maybe regardless? Or if Fitz starts to look bad, they pull the plug and they throw Tua in?
I think A and C.
it's a multiple choice question, I guess.
I think if we get knocked out, say, I'm trying to think of the schedule, say like after the Chiefs game, we kind of get knocked out because that's towards the end of the season. Yeah, you'll probably see him in there. And then also, if Fitz puts back-to-back horrible games together, which yesterday's game wasn't a great fit. It started as a Fitz magic game. He did his thing. And then towards the end, you could tell that he was just like, all right, now I'm gonna play around with this, because he just he saw the opponent. Like, no offense, but
it's fair. Totally, no argument.
So he's just slinging it. Yeah. Like that deep pass to Preston Williams that got picked off, which that interception, like, are you shitting me right now?
Absolutely makes no sense. We go from butt fumble to booty pick, like, and I'm all about it. I'm like, okay, maybe this ends the curse. Like, let's lift that stain and just throw it off to the side.
So I think he was just messing with the Jets. I don't think he was taking it serious. It did suck though, because only scoring 3 points in the second half after just scoring 21 in like the first quarter. I was like, what are they doing? But he is the reason that the Dolphins have won some games, and he's the reason they've been in games. That Buffalo Bills game, Dolphins would have won if the defense just played a little bit, So it's like people don't like Fitz because they want to see Tua, so they'll like nitpick things. And yes, he does have his tragic moments, but teams will rally around Fitzpatrick and play for that guy.
Fitz is fun. I really I hate the guy, but I love the guy too. Like watching him and Mangold with the two big beards, just like buddying up. They're going to hockey games together. Like he loved his offensive line. Like just a fun guy to root for. When he comes out in Tampa Bay, he's got the chains on and everything. Like it's just a cool guy. I don't know. He's a Harvard guy. Just you don't expect him to be where he's at, and like. I don't know. It's
and
fun.
A lot of quarterbacks, you get hit once, and they kind of like Tom Brady. You hit Tom Brady once, he starts that clock in his head starts speeding up, and he gets those flinches and stuff. Fitz likes to get hit. Like he like laughs afterwards. He's like, oh yeah, you just tackled me by my face.
Yeah, dude, he's an unreal type of player in this league. Like it's probably him and McCown as like the two guys that I sort of link almost like together. In that respect, where it's like, hey, they can run the offense. They can at least have you grade the players around you. You're not having some incompetent quarterback out there, where you can't. They're not timing up their throws. They're calling the wrong plays, like audibles or whatever at the line. Fitz has got enough knowledge of virtually every team's playbook at some point. Do you think he gets the trifecta? Like you guys go on to Tua next year. Cam Newton moves on from the Patriots. Does he get the four-way, goes to the Patriots for a year just to like complete it?
Just to say that. I play for
even if he's the backup
in the division, right?
Dude, he'll go. Cam will still go back. They'll get Fitzpatrick. Cam's gonna get hurt, and Fitz enters. That's how the cycle of Fitzpatrick goes.
It has to happen. As much as I'd like to see him become a Dolphins quarterback coach, that has to happen. I would
Yeah.
love to see that happen.
It's kind of magical.
It really is.
RJ McPot, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, trade back scenarios you'd take to trade for Trevor. So I'm assuming you're saying if the Jets were at 1 and we don't want Trevor, or we want to trade out, or maybe we don't want to trade out and someone offers us a king's ransom, what would it take for me to trade out? For me, I'm looking... It would probably have to be a absolute haul. Like, I'm talking multiple first-round picks. Mm-hmm. Even if it was, like, say, first-round pick this year, second next year, first-round... Like, in, like, a weird alternating kind of thing. Like, it would take a lot if I'm the Jets. And I don't even know who would be willing to give up that much. Maybe the Falcons, if they're really looking to move on from Matty Ice. I don't know. If we get number 1, I would not trade it for anything. It's one of those things, like, if you knew what Patrick Mahomes was going to be, and you own the first pick, what would it take for you to trade out? There are players that are just that valuable that you don't trade out of. And I think Trevor Lawrence, while it's premature to say he's going to wind up like Patrick Mahomes, for sure. But like that kind of talent, like if you said Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck, like those, I mean, granted, you don't know Andrew Luck's going to retire, but if you knew you could have had those quarterbacks at number 1, you're not trading out.
Yeah, no. And I think that if it was even like a consideration, it'd have to be one of those teams that have 2 firsts this year. Mm-hmm. And that's when you can really make a move and get, all of a sudden you have 2 firsts this year, get, more firsts for the future. Even you're going to have to throw in some seconds or something. Like, you got to, huge compensation would have to happen to go from wherever to first. Because I don't even think at this point some of the teams that are behind the Jets would necessarily need a quarterback. So it'd probably be somebody in like the 10s.
Yeah, right now, the way we're looking at it, I mean, you could argue Washington. They're picking 2 right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to move on from Haskins. I think the Giants have another year of Daniel Jones. I think if they got the first pick, they would probably trade out. I could see that happening. Or they'd get maybe a little bit more for Daniel Jones. Jacksonville's one that I could see taking.
Yeah.
Because they're not really tied to Minshew.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird. Like Minnesota is a weird one. Because Kirk Cousins, that team is going to be so far. I think they're over the cap next year, if I'm not mistaken, like by a lot. Like I know, like Philly's the highest, I think, and then like the Saints, but Minnesota can't be too far. But then you got teams like the Chargers, the Eagles, the Bengals, teams that are not taking a quarterback with 1 win. God, I don't know. I don't think I'm trading that pick for anything.
Yeah, no.
That's where I kind of stand on that. I don't know. Who do you guys want with that Houston pick? Like, what position are you guys trying to eye?
I would love to add like a stud pass rusher. Like that's the thing. Like I like the way the Dolphins are going right now, especially on the offensive line. Like I'm not saying they're studs yet, but Austin Jackson before he had his ankle injury, and Solomon Kinley and even Robert Hunt, when we have those guys out there, they're playing really well. And to hit on potentially 3 offensive linemen in 1 draft, it's like makes you very excited for what this GM can do now that he has full control over the team. I just want consistent pass rush. I don't want to have to depend on a lead, because it seems like that's kind of like the defense the Dolphins are running. Like once we get a lead, then all of a sudden the pass rush shows up. I would like just from jump to have like a good consistent pass rush. So yeah, we have 2 firsts. So I'd say, that Texans pick, I would probably go, depends on where it is and what's available. But a pass rush. Like I think the players that I want to add is like a running back, a pass rush, a safety, and probably another offensive lineman. That'd be probably like my top 4 that I'd like to add. Yeah,
I think this draft is going to be a really interesting one, because even with not every team in college is playing right now. So it almost like that's another reason not to trade the pick if you're the Jets. Like you kind of know Trevor Lawrence is like the guy. Like other players may not be playing. Like you can't move on from from that pick.
The defensive end from Miami University. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
The R.
Yeah.
It's like Rousseau, Rose. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but yeah.
I'd like the Dolphins to potentially go after him, but I haven't seen him play this year. He opted out, and that's you have to go off of his 2019 tape. And sometimes these players, they go back to college and they regress. So you don't know what you're getting because they didn't play 2020. It's a big question mark.
Yeah, I mean, how many players at the start of last season were you like, okay, yeah, that guy's going to be a top pick? Burrow was not in the conversation. Burrow was like a second round pick at best to start the season, and then first overall pick. Totally different.
They come back for an extra year. It can make or break you. Because there's some guys who got injured on their senior year, and all of a sudden that their stock just completely plummeted. But yeah, Joe Burrow, this was like the first season he had that was good, and it was like it wasn't even good; it was outstanding.
Yeah,
and propelled him to being the first overall pick.
That watching Joe Brady and like what he's done with Teddy Bridgewater, what he did with Joe Burrow, coming from the Saints organization, like the guy seems like he's got offense injected into his veins. Yeah. That's who I want. I think if I had to like pick one, I don't know. There's a few different guys like Greg Roman. He's built offenses around Tyrod Taylor, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Lamar Jackson, more running style quarterbacks, but still adapts his offense to those types of play styles. So I think the Jets are going to have a lot of options. I just hope they don't make the wrong one. Last time, I'm like, I wanted McCarthy last time or Rule. And then, like, Gase comes out of nowhere. I was like, oh, you screwed it up. You had McCarthy in the building. Like, what are you doing? Oh, they just can't do it to me again. I'm going to cry.
It's funny because I was always wondering what Jet fan, because I read comments. Like, you watch my videos, I watch your videos. We always scout the enemy, And as soon as they signed Gase, I wanted to know, like, you and Ian and all the other Jet guys, I wanted to know your guys' reaction to it. And then I read some of your comments, and some of the guys were like, no, he's going to be good. Look what he... And I was just like...
You haven't been watching, have you? Yeah, we got a
when he was the Dolphins head coach, you guys were like, he sucks. And all of a sudden, he's your head coach, and some of you guys were like, he's going to be good. And I was like...
Is what? He? You guys, I don't think so. Yeah, no, when that happened, I think I was probably editing another video, and it's one of the few videos that I like actually shot on my phone, where it's like just an instant reaction. I was just like, oh no, how could you? Like, there's all these different, and then they get rid of the GM like months later after he spends all the money and the draft picks, and I'm like, you know what, I understood it if they felt like the hiring or the scouting department, they've done all their work, you just let them pick for that class of players, but you'd assume the head coach would have a say. Apparently, from what I've heard, Adam Gase did not have a say in who the Jets selected with McCagnon as the GM, and there's the same thing under Bowles, where it was like, hey, you're not allowed to see the scouts because you might create an unfair bias on their scouting. And I was just like, that's stupid. Makes no damn sense. Like, what the hell are we doing? I do like Douglas a lot. I think Douglas, I just hope he gets the opportunity to bring in his guy. I don't want Christopher Johnson to be like, oh, Adam Gase, he's still an offensive genius here. It makes a lot more sense to maybe roll with him. That would crush me. If they're like planned in on this tank and they're like, oh yeah, we'll make sure we get the first overall pick. Trevor Lawrence is the prototypical perfect quarterback for Adam Gase. I will lose my cool so fast if he remains the head coach after this freaking terrible 2-season stretch. Lee G, thank you for the super chat. He says, hey Ryan, do you think an Allen Robinson trade is realistic? Also, I play you in fantasy in the coming weeks, so get ready to lose. Thanks, LG. You know what? I think you're going to lose because you're a jerk. No, Allen Robinson, I really like Allen Robinson. I think what's going to happen is I don't know. You know what? If they try and trade him, I don't know if the Jets will be in on that. I think they're more buyers in free agency. The Jets are going to have a ton of money. I don't know where the Dolphins stand cap-wise, but the Jets are going to have like $80 million this offseason in cap. And that's after the decrease in the salary cap. And then you got like half the league that's going to be over the salary cap. So they're going to have to cut a ton of players just to get under that threshold. This could be a buyer's market for sure.
Yeah, Dolphins right now are sitting at about $15 million under cap right now. And then going into next year, it's around the same. A lot of these contracts that the Dolphins signed this past offseason were front loaded, and they kind of put it in the signing bonus. So they're gonna be. I don't think they're as much as the Jets, but I think it's around $70 million under the cap next year. So it's another good year for the Dolphins to add some more potential talent. It's
Yeah,
gonna be interesting.
if I'm the Jets and I'm just sort of if I'm reading the tea leaves on what I'd like to do, if the Jets get the first pick, that's the big kind of key to all this. If they get the first pick, then I'm probably going after Allen Robinson in free agency if he does hit free agency. And then I would look at Joe Thuney, the guard from the Patriots. That was like my crush last year. That's who I wanted. And then they franchise tagged. I was like, there's no way. Like, how could they do that? And it's because friggin' Cam Newton's going to take pennies on the dollar, and they don't need a quarterback. And I hate that freaking team so much.
Yeah, there was a lot of Dolphin fans wanted, and me included. I wanted Joe Thuney as well. I was like, come on, he has a connection, Brian Flores. Let's get him. And then franchise tagged him, and I was like, oh, they're gonna tag him and trade him, and then they kept him. I'm like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, he's got to be moving on after this year, I would think. Although I don't. Let me see what I think the Patriots have a lot of cap too, if I'm not mistaken. I think Brady actually comes off the books.
Oh, really?
Next year. I think that's how it worked. Let me pull it up real quick. 2021. Yeah, Patriots have the fourth most cap, so they're set to have 64 million. Top in cap is going to be the Jaguars, sitting at like 76 to 80 without rollover from this year. So a lot of teams. The Ravens, I mean, they're going to have to give Lamar Jackson a massive contract this season, I think, this offseason. So that number is going to shrink a lot. But yeah, dude, there's a lot of teams. The Saints, $80 million over the salary cap with 44 players under contract.
And did they just pay Kamara this offseason?
They did. I don't know where the salary cap makes no sense to me. Like I like to think that I'm pretty like on top of like knowing the salary cap. I know nothing.
It's the same thing with the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs just keep throwing money at people.
Yeah,
even though they
just
only
keep
gave
finding
Bell,
money.
Yeah, they only give Bell a friggin' mill though. That's all.
Thank God. He could have taken. I don't know if I think the vet min is like 500,000. So getting $1 million knocks $1 million back onto the Jets. Salary cap. I'll take it.
Supposedly the Dolphins were gonna offer him like a 2-year contract, and he decided to go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I hope he does well. I really. It makes all the sense in the world. I think it was like, okay, he's going to possibly the Dolphins, the Bills, or the Chiefs. All right, the Jets play the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs in like those 3 weeks. I'm like, he just wants revenge. He wants revenge in the worst way. And I really do. I hope he runs all over us. When we play the Chiefs. It's just like it's what like the icing on the cake of like, okay, Gase, you're out of here now. Like that's it. Lee G says, how about Tyreek Hill max contract signing? Tyreek Hill is not a free agent. Tyreek Hill, where is he? What's his contract looking like? I don't think he's a free agent. Nah, dude, he's got like, you know what? His guaranteed money's up after this year. So that's maybe he'll get a restructured deal. I don't know. He's 26 years old. I don't think the Jets are getting Tyreek Hill. That doesn't seem realistic to me.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
I just want to see Denzel Mims play. Mims and Becton, those are the two guys more than anything on the Jets. I don't care about anyone else. If those two guys could be the cornerstones of this offense or of this team, really, like, considering you're going to probably get rid of everyone else, at least we know we have some players then. I don't want to like completely go into next season like, oh yeah, nothing in the cupboard. Good luck, the new head coach. Who are you going to attract? There's no one else. If for some wacky reason the Jets had to stick with Darnold, like if we win like 3-4 games, we wind up with like the 5th, 6th, 7th pick. I think I'd probably push real hard for Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he's kind of bringing those two together would be nice. I can't justify paying Sam what he's going to want to get paid after the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else is going on in Dolphins world? You guys are in second place in the AFC East. It's got to feel pretty good being above the Patriots.
So good.
We've wanted them to be in the basement of this division for so long. It's finally happening.
It's funny too, because I was like, oh, they're going to beat up on the Broncos. And then I even said it on Twitter. Somebody asked me, hey, what game are you watching before the Dolphins game? And I said the Browns-Steelers, because I thought that was going to be a competitive game. I said, because the Broncos are going to get whomped on by the Patriots. And I kid you, like 20 minutes later, somebody tweeted at me like, "You sure about that?" And then I was like, "What?" And I checked the score. I was like,
Of
"What?
course.
What the hell is going on?" Like, I wasn't upset, but I was like, "What the hell is going on right now?" I was like, "All right, I'll take it."
You got it. I mean, anytime the Patriots can lose is just makes me feel so much better. Like, I'm actually not even like against the Dolphins or against the Bills at this point. Like, we've been beaten down so much by the Patriots that I'm just kind of okay with the other division rivals. Like, hey, it's almost a team thing at this point. Like, let's just someone else, anyone but the Patriots is really like what it feels like in the AFC East.
Yeah, and it's funny too because a lot of people thought, hey, they lost to the Chiefs because, Cam Newton wasn't in there. You had Brian Hoyer who was making the stupidest mistakes, and then Stidham comes in. That's the reason we lost. Then all of a sudden now Cam Newton's in there, and it's like, well, what's the reason now that you're losing? So it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how this season is gonna shake out. First, I guess my one thought, and the Jets had that one false positive of like for COVID like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And I'm thinking like, oh, you know what's going to happen? The Jets are going to earn themselves the #1 overall pick. They're going to not comply with the COVID protocol, and they're going to forfeit their first-round pick. And that's what's going to happen. And this is how this is going to go down. I'm done. I'm sick of this fucking franchise. That's how that was going to happen. But
yeah, you definitely sound like a Jet fan.
Dude, it's like
jaded
salty.
So bad.
Oh, I'm pretty optimistic on a lot of stuff. And this is like, once something starts like waterfalling, then it's like, all right, now here comes. I saw the Jamal Adams stuff coming from like a mile away. The trade deadline last year, I was like, this guy is upset he wasn't traded to Dallas. And I was like, one of the only guys that was like, I'm against Jamal right now. I actually didn't wear his jersey for the longest time. And I got a lot of hate for it. I was like, I think I'm right. And then like it happens. I was like, oh, I knew it. you jerks. I'm just ecstatic to not have to deal with the Patriots the way they were. Like Cam Newton going there, like it sucks because what could Bill Belichick do with Cam Newton? But at least
exactly.
Like the injury history and like some of the other little things that have happened to Cam over the years sort of gave me a little more confidence that they were coming back down to earth. How about friggin' Tom Brady in Tampa Bay? That team right now. Loaded.
And they're still losing in the stupidest ways. Like, how did he not know it was 4th down?
Unreal. That like not Brady-esque at all. The brains are clearly with Belichick. That's got to be what it is.
Like you, how many seasons have you played? And then he wanted to blame the coaches for not telling him that it was 4th down. You could look to the right. You could look to the left. You could look at the scoreboard. You could look at the. Just
the big
look.
number 4. It's everywhere.
Right?
It's everywhere.
4? It was 4th down.
The still frame of him.
4?
It's just like,
you're such an idiot.
That's how that. It's like, come on. God, I was super jaded with him up in New England. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people were, but the whole not taking a max contract, like I don't know if he was ever paid as a top 10 quarterback while he was with New England. It was like bad. Yet he's the CEO of what's the friggin' medical facility they use up there? TB12. And he's getting paid as the CEO of TB12. But that money doesn't count against the salary cap.
Oh my
so
God.
like, what the hell's going on there? That's like sketchy as hell. No one looks into it. Not really. They suck. They don't suck. They're good. I'm just frustrated. Lee G says, what are some coaching options for the team? We went over a few of them. I think if I had to go in order, I'd want someone who brings immediate legitimacy to the franchise. So someone like a Dabo Sweeney is high on the list. A Lincoln Riley, I would love. Both those guys have massive contracts on their college teams right now. It makes no sense for them to leave either of their situations. Urban Meyer, if he's looking to get back into coaching, is someone I would be very high on. But I think the Jets are probably going to have to go with a coordinator in some capacity. So Joe Brady from the Panthers, passing game coordinator, offense coordinator, from the Panthers, from LSU last year with Burrow in that great college season, and then with the Saints prior to that. So he's got offense running through his veins. You got the Bills offensive coordinator. He's molded that offense perfectly around Josh Allen. I was very high on the thought that Josh Allen was not going to be a good quarterback. I thought he was going to be a bust. The I was totally proven wrong. Totally flabbergasted as to how that went. Outside of that, Greg Roman, I like the Baltimore Joe Douglas kind of connection. Sort of seems fresh there. I've heard some people bring up. Well, I'll say is it Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator from the Titans? That's a big name that people like. But I heard people bring up the idea of, oh God, who was it? Doug Peterson from the Eagles. Like, could he potentially be in some hot water with that team? Which feels wrong. Like, the dude's got a Super Bowl ring. Like, can't just like, it is the city of brotherly love though, so you never know. They threw snowballs at Santa.
Would you potentially go after Jim Harbaugh?
I don't know. It's a popular name. I wouldn't hate it. I think it's a name the Jets organization will try to go after because of how he's kind of not done the best at Michigan. But his success in the league is so dated at this point. I want to say 2012, maybe 13 was the last time he really had success in the NFL. That's a long time. I wouldn't hate it because I think he could groom a quarterback, but I think I want someone a little not abrasive. Like, he feels like the offensive equivalent of Greg Williams. Like, Greg Williams rubs people the wrong way. He's going to be here 2 years, and that's it. Like, that's the only reason I'm not real high on Jim Harbaugh.
Makes sense.
Is there someone that you think the Jets should probably be looking at, like, or candidate-wise? I don't know. I know you're not really looking at head coaches at all.
Garbage can. No.
Garbage can. Get him. Get Oscar the Grouch over there. He could run your franchise.
I don't know. You guys were always so good when you had a defensive-minded coach. You know, Rex Ryan. You guys went to back-to-back playoffs, AFC Championship. Todd Bowles wasn't that bad for you guys. I don't know.
Dude, I never would have thought I would have missed Todd Bowles as much as I do with Adam Gase. Like, I didn't hate Todd Bowles, but I very much thought his message was stale. They're not getting anything out of him. Turns out a lot of that was just McCagnon. Like, if you could have kept Todd Bowles, I saw a tweet earlier today saying that Todd Bowles is the best defensive mind in the NFL right now, and God, the Jets defense was looking good with him. Sam Darnold was looking good, promising. He went toe to toe with Aaron Rodgers. He had some great games that first season with the Jets, and the promise was there, the hope was there, and then Adam Gase comes in, and then it's just factory of sadness from game one, just like. And then as soon as, like, you get that Bills game, you miss the field goals, and then Sam gets mono, and then the season's shot. And then this year, it's like, okay, everyone's injured. And I think more so than maybe those one-win teams, you're kind of seeing that because there was no preseason. It's teams that are not as gelled together as they otherwise could have been. Like, teams that have more chemistry year in, year out. Like, that's why the Steelers, I think, look so good. Yeah. Is Big Ben's just, like, that roster... And that defense is playing out of their mind.
Yeah,
I know you're not thrilled with Mika, but he's balling out a little bit. He had a nice little touchdown the other day.
Yeah, and like you said, like a Tampa's defense, they're doing real well with Todd Bowles down there. So I don't know.
It's going to be a dicey situation for the New York Jets. In terms of your free agency, what players do you think the Dolphins should be targeting come free agent time? And it's tough to know, like, who's exactly going to be a free agent, but maybe position wise, who you guys are kind of trying to look for.
I'd like to add like a middle linebacker. If not in free agency, then definitely probably get that top guy in the draft.
CJ Mosley might be up for your trade if you want that contract.
You guys that shit. Probably, yeah. I'd like to add a middle linebacker. Maybe a slot wide receiver, but I got to see what Albert Wilson's going to do when he comes back after opting out. And the Dolphins set it up perfectly where it's like it's just little pieces here and there that they need to add. So it's like next season, it's more just sexy picks and just top notch. It's probably a lot of, all right, we're going to get rid of some players that are either struggling or whatnot, and then we'll just supplement and keep adding more players. But yeah, it's for me, I need to see a better consistent pass rush. I'd like to see a better linebacker play, especially middle linebacker play, better running back play, and the offensive line I'm good with, maybe adding one more. But yeah, Not much, in all honesty. Not much.
Now, do you think there's going to be any change in the NFL calendar schedule because of the virus and everything that's kind of going on? Like, do you think? I know the Patriots have kind of butt up against their final flexibility because they've already given up, I think, a bye week and then have had things shifted around. So now you're talking moving games and maybe the playoffs back a little bit. Do you think the season ends the way it's scheduled to end, or do you think we see some curveballs here?
I think we might add another week because, like, Dolphins are already next week's their bye. So if anything happens with the team that the Dolphins are playing, they're gonna be screwed, and they're gonna have to move things around. Same thing with a lot of Packers, Saints, Seahawks. They're all started having their byes already. So it's like now it's the point of, all right, well, now what do you do? Do you move games to Tuesday like they did last week? Double it up on Monday like today? It's going to get real interesting real fast.
Yeah, I think it's going to be – I've heard them say they're not – I think they're not doing a Pro Bowl this year, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to be actually like voting people in, and you get the honors, but you're not going to Orlando or L.A. or wherever they were going to have it. It's going to be a weird year.
Yeah.
Imagine the Super Bowl without fans. Like that initial kickoff with all the flashes and like, sorry, like not happening. Maybe
it's a possibility. It's crazy.
Where's the Super Bowl this year? Do you know offhand? I don't. Let me see.
Is it in New Orleans?
I was gonna say if it. Well, they're talking about not even playing in their stadium anymore, right? Like they're gonna play where LSU plays, I think.
Oh, really?
I thought that's what they were talking about because I think they're trying to get fans in the stands, and I think the city of New Orleans doesn't want them to have fans in the stands. Where the hell is it? Super Bowl. I'm sure there's a list
Tampa.
right here somewhere.
Some people are saying Tampa.
Tampa. Ooh, so Florida's allowed to have all the fans. That would be great for the NFL.
Yeah.
Unless like they decide not to. Oh, could you imagine if Tom Brady's the first person to bring the home team to the Super Bowl in their home stadium? Oh man! At least he's not on New England anymore. But geez,
right?
that would get me.
It's funny too because somebody asked me if it was the Bucks versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl, who would you be rooting for? I was like the Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if Tom Brady has 6 rings, as long as the Patriots don't have 6 rings. Personal ring count doesn't mean anything to me. I don't give a crap.
I wanted, I don't know. I guess I wanted Belichick to be the mastermind, but as a fan still in the AFC East, maybe we want Brady to be the mastermind behind everything. It was really Belichick that's going to flop now because he doesn't have him. Who's the next great quarterback in the AFC East? Is it Tua, or are we looking at Josh Allen?
Josh Allen he's got such potential and such promise, and he's showing it this year. But as much as his accuracy is getting better, it's still a problem of his. Like I was just watching the Chiefs game before, and he was missing some wide open throws. But I think now without Brady there, it's like we're gonna have another big competition with quarterbacks. I think if you guys do get Lawrence, and then we have Josh Allen and Tua, I think the Patriots are gonna be the odd man looking out and not having a good quarterback, and for once, and it's gonna be very funny. Yeah,
God, that would be just wonderful. I would love the Patriots to be stuck in quarterback purgatory for just a few. Decade and a half, 2 decades. Just like let them just go. We've been through. The Jets haven't had a quarterback since Namath. Like Pennington is the closest thing we had to like a steady franchise quarterback. I mean, maybe Sanchez for a time, but even then, that felt like it was a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
Sadness, just pure sadness. Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to take any phone calls? We could take some phone calls.
I actually have to
or you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Not a problem. I was going to say, let me give you your out now. All right. So let me plug your channel, plug whatever you want. Thank you for joining me tonight. And hopefully we get to do something in the future as well.
Yeah, man. If you guys want to check me out, see some Dolphins talk, it's over at youtube.com/DouglieDoWrong. You want to find me anywhere? At DouglieDoWrong. I will definitely be having Ryan on my channel. Maybe even sometime this week I'll have you on. Got to get you over there. Get my guys to heckle you a little bit.
Hopefully some of my Jet fans that are in this chat right now will help support a lonely Jet fan on a rival channel.
You'll be surprised.
I didn't see as many Dolphins guys as I thought. I get a lot of Bills people in my chat.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, big
you'll
time.
be surprised because when we were playing when I was live yesterday for the Dolphins Jets game, a lot of Dolphin fans were feeling bad for you guys. So I don't think you'll get heckled. I think we know what you're going through after last year, so I think you get a lot of support when you come over.
Well, I was gonna say it's almost like picking on the crippled kid. Like that's what it feels like for the Jets. It's really like not fun. It's like, oh come on, you beat up on them? All right. Well, Douglie, it means the world to me that you came on, and I will be in touch with you for sure.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
All right, take it easy, brother.
Later.
All right, let's switch over to the main screen. Bam! Nice to have you guys. Powerhouse, TJ, thank you for coming over from Douglie's channel. He's a great guy. Definitely want to have him on more. He has been a lot of fun. Marty says, go Seahawks. Broadway Sam Testaverde was a franchise quarterback before he blew out his knee. Yes and no. We had him for, 4 years? He had a long history of not being so good prior to coming to the Jets, and then it was fun. I mean, he was the first quarterback that I remember actually playing well for the Jets, because I was born in '89, so you're talking, I got to see Glenn Foley, and it was pretty much Testaverde, and then we switched over to Pennington, and that's kind of where my Jets. Here comes all the Dolphins. Adrian, Salva, Shake, Cam, Fins up. Good luck next week, Jets. Hopefully the GOAT can mastermind a dub for you. I don't want a dub. I want no win. Give me 0-16. Oh, God. Just brutal. Chad Pennington is the best Jets quarterback I've seen in my lifetime, says Dark Demonic. Yeah, I would say that most consistent for sure. Best, if you're saying the best, it's hard for me not to think Brett Favre for the 11 games we saw him while he was healthy. I think that was probably the most fun quarterback situation. I remember that one of his first throws in the old Giant Stadium, I guess. He just threw a ball on a rope, and this was after going from Pennington, which was everyone's saying noodle arm forever, and just throwing a ball on a rope like a goddamn laser flying out. That was awesome. Kaiser says we're not going to win. Jamal Adams is a top 5 all-time Jet, says Marty MF Williams. No way. Not a chance. One of the best players we've ever drafted. Possibly. That might be the case when all things are said and done. It kind of depends how his career plays out. It certainly looked like he was one of the better draft picks that we've had in a very long time. Big Green Nick. Thank you for the super chat. We should have left that punter in there back in 99. Dude, we could have had that Super Bowl. It was so close. It was right there. Literally right there. And I just remember watching my dad. It was a little bit earlier, I would say, than my football knowledge really kicked in. Because I would have been 9 years old at that point. Tom Tupa. I love me some Tom Tupa. He's a great quarterback and a punter. Some of those trick plays were fantastic. I used to love, he'd line up as a punter and then sneak up to the line of scrimmage and be like, oh, God, he's going for it. Oh, no. Jets fan 74 says, I hope Trevor doesn't pull an Eli or a Peyton. I don't think he's going to pull a Peyton. I could see him potentially pulling an Eli based on how the Jets have dealt with everything so far. You think of, Sanchez, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. We have not been able to develop quarterbacks. He's definitely going to come out. I don't think he's going back to school. When Peyton Manning decided he was going back to college, there was just not enough money on the table for him to make that change. And at this point, you're talking $40 million on the table for Trevor Lawrence. He graduates in December. His coach is certainly talking like he's probably playing in New York, whether it be the Jets or the Giants. So I think more than likely he's coming out. If we wind up losing him overall, that would be just sadness. Like if he's like, oh yeah, not playing for the Jets, we're going to do, I want to play for the Falcons. And then the Jets are forced to trade him, move him away. God, that'd be so sad. If he winds up, Kaiser says he already declared. I think he's still able to go back as long as he doesn't, sign an agent, if I'm not mistaken. As long as he's still considered an amateur. Trevor is not a wimp. See, that's just it. If we get the first pick and he says he doesn't want to play here, to me that tells me he was never going to be mentally strong enough to handle New York anyway. If you can't win in New York, I don't know. I want a guy that wants to be here first and foremost. That's why it kind of like kills me with Sam. Like I thought Sam wanted to. Oh, I think Sam does want to be here now. Probably not so much after what we're doing with him. Marty listing his favorite Jets we've drafted all time: Darrelle Revis, Nick Mangold, Bart Scott, Jamal Adams, Joe Namath. Well, we didn't draft Bart Scott, so I mean, if you're saying best Jets all time, Revis, Mangold, I'd say Namath. Those three make a lot of sense. I think Toon has to be in there. I don't know. There's a few other ones. If you're saying just Jets that played for the Jets, I'd be hard pressed not to include Curtis Martin. He was so good for that stretch. Matthew says, I hope we fire Gase and Douglas hires the right guy. I really hope Chris Johnson doesn't have say in the hire. I think the only reason Chris Johnson really had a say in the hire last time is, well, not just that, but he was, I remember hearing a quote saying that he was nervous about looking for a head coach because he had never done it before. And that's why they kept McCagnon around. And that sucks. That is brutal. What else are you guys saying? Rich says, Ryan, who do you consider second to Trevor? Second as in the second best player that I would want the Jets to take, or second quarterback? It's tough right now. I haven't really dove into my draft analysis yet. I think where I want to go with this is kind of get through the season, figure out where the names sort of fall. I'll look at a bunch of mock drafts, and I'll start there. I'll see who the players are that a lot of like the scouts are saying are going to be good. Then I'll look at their tape, and I'll make my own opinions from that. I would say this. My second option, if we're holding on to Sam, is going to be Jamar Chase. If we are not holding on to Sam, Trey Lance is the quarterback that I really like a lot. That's nothing against Fields. I just think Lance he looks like where the NFL's going. I know I'm stealing the Adam Gase line, but that's just sort of how I feel. Marty says, thank you, man. I dig the content. Of course, dude. Thank you for tuning in. Means a lot. Kaiser says, just Google Trevor Lawrence declares for draft and the CBS article should pop up. Until he signs an agent, I'm not going to necessarily believe it. That's my biggest fear. Caden, Ryan, would you agree with the fact that Joe Douglas can't gut the entire team by being sellers at the trade deadline? We still need building blocks like Quinn, Becton, Crowder, May, etc. That's tough for me to say. May is an interesting one. I think if you can retain some of your own talent, I think it's important. The Jets are going to have a lot of cap space. And one thing to remember is there's going to be a lot of free agents that don't necessarily want to come to the Jets. So if you can lock May in for like a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract, maybe that's how you go and you kind of get a little bit of some team chemistry there. Crowder, I'd like to hold on to. I would like for whoever the quarterback is next year, I think having Crowder to at least be one weapon would be important to have. Quinn, I'm all for trading. Becton is untouchable in my mind. Becton and Mims are the two guys I'm just hoping, show out this season and really get us excited for years to come. No Name. Say we get the first overall pick. Thoughts on trading back and potentially getting an extra first for the next 3 years? I'm not doing that. If we get the first overall pick, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence for sure. I don't think there's any way I trade that pick. Like, even if you get a Ricky Williams offer where it's literally an entire team's draft class and a first-round pick the following year, I think he's too good. I don't think you pass up on the quarterback when you need a quarterback. Marty says Seattle wants Quinn and Williams. I'll trade him there. The only thing is they don't have a first-round pick, so who are they going to give us? They'd have to give us a player back. What are we going to take their first-round pick in 2 years from now? I don't think so. Matthew. Ryan, I'm getting more and more nervous that we might not fire Gase at the end of the season. Do you think that it's a lock that we fire him with a clueless owner like Chris Johnson? That's a huge fear. A huge fear with Trevor Lawrence and Adam Gase and this whole first-round pick. It looks very weird to me that we are going to bottom out and very possibly go 0-16. And Gase, it doesn't feel like he's feeling too much pressure from ownership right now. Like, maybe they are actually discussing him. I've heard, drips and drabs from the rumor mill. But, man, I've heard rumors saying that Trevor Lawrence is the perfect prototypical quarterback for an Adam Gase system. So imagine if he's in on the tank and his job is safe. I'd be throwing my computer off the 4th floor here. Ugh. Forget that. If Gase stays, fans will rebel. Dean says, "What are you talking about? No way, don't say that." Look, I've heard people say it. It's not. I think there's no way Gase stays. I really don't. I think it's just so far-fetched at this point to see that happen. I say he gets fired after losing to the Chiefs, says Rocket to 1. The Chiefs are in 2 weeks, so the Bills then the Chiefs. I don't know what I see first. Do you see Greg Williams being the interim head coach, or do you see Greg Williams taking the fall first before Gase gets canned? Because there's a possibility you see Gase and Greg Williams both out. Like, maybe they don't want him as the interim. It's going to be interesting. Dark Demonic, I'll put this team in the grave if they keep Gase and draft Trevor. I'd be so angry. He stayed 2 years too many with the Dolphins, says Cam. Everyone says that Trevor should stay in college. Gets me so mad. They just love to hate on the Jets. The Jets are the punching bag of the entire NFL circuit. Rightfully so for a lot of stuff. But then there's other things like the whole seeing ghosts thing. Like ESPN did the Jets dirty last year by showing that live. There's part of it is Jet fans doing it to ourselves. Like, there's so many Jet fans, like closet Jet fans, and a lot of people are going to read when the Jets are bad and when the Jets do something stupid. So we do it to ourselves. Maybe we got to stop being negative. Maybe I should just be pumping up Adam Gase nonstop and saying, he is the guy. That's my coach. He was never 0-16 bad, but he was bad. Yeah. Jordan says, can't quit on Williams this early, man. He's been playing really well. He's got bright future. You're talking about Quinn and Williams. It's not that I want to give up on Quinn and Williams. It's more so if I'm looking at allocation of assets. And would I prefer a great run-stopping defensive tackle, or would I prefer a wide receiver or a guard or something like that? Like, if Quinn and Williams is getting the sacks like an Aaron Donald, or half of what Aaron Donald gets, I would be all for that. But I don't think he's untradeable like he was last year. ownership will take your positivity of Gase and extend him for 4 years more. God, no. Jesus Christ. I can't imagine there's too many people in the Jets organization that watch these videos. They're probably like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's true. I'm just a fan. Rich Ritter, if we go get Trevor, we go after Josh McDaniels. I like what Josh McDaniels offers. My issue with him is what he did to the Colts. I would be concerned he would do that to the Jets, and I think that's why I would not go after McDaniels. Either way, I think Belichick's probably going to tell him, hey, steer clear of the Jets and that whole organization. Maybe we keep Gase next year and try to get in the record books by going 0-17, first team ever. Yeah, if we go 0-16 this year, we'll be the last team to ever go 0-16. Unless you count like 0-16-1 in the future, I guess. Cam says, like, I understand rivalry and stuff, but I just can't hate you guys when you are this bad. Like, I just feel sorry for you. That's honestly how I feel about the Dolphins and the Bills. Like, even though they're playing well now, I really don't have any hate for them. Like, it's hard to have a rivalry when everything's just been so lopsided in favor of the Patriots. It's almost refreshing to see, like, okay, the Bills might win or the Dolphins might win, the East this year. I just want to see some parity. I want to see, like, the AFC South or the, insert almost any other division, one that's not just getting walked through year in and year out by the same team. So I kind of feel you. I feel you, Dolphins fans. I'm not too upset with you guys. Arthur Smith looking like the real deal so far, says Matt Diaz. I have no problem with him. D-Mac, Trevor Lawrence, and Sweeney package deal. Yes, that's what I want. I think Sweeney immediately brings validity to this Jets coaching staff, and he knows how to use Trevor Lawrence. Do what you got to do. Go out there, sign him to whatever contract you need. Johnson's, I know your baby powder empire is going to have just enough money to sign this guy. If you want to turn this around, you can do that. You're just going to have to pay out the wazoo to get him here. And I'll go one step further, D-Mac. I will say Trevor Lawrence, Sweeney, and Etienne, the running back. Bring him in. Late first-round pick, beginning of second-round pick, go for it. Let's just bring Clemson to the Jets. It's worked out so well. I don't think the Jets right now could beat Clemson. Dean says, Ryan, do you think Joe Brady is too young to be a head coach? He's 31. No, I don't think he's too young. That's just it. I think if you understand football and you understand offense the way it seems like he does, because that Carolina offense, that LSU offense, that Saints offense, all looked legit. He seems like he's in line. Now, maybe it doesn't happen this offseason. I could see it taking another year. He's going to be on the short list, though. People are going to take note of him. My issue, not really an issue with him, is more so an issue with Matt Rule. Like, I think he's going to go to Matt Rule and be like, hey, what do you think of the Jets? You almost took that job 2 years ago. What happened? Well, they told me I couldn't pick my own coaches. I think the thing you got to worry about with Joe Brady and him being so young is not having the positional coaches to bring in to fill out a coaching staff. I think that's a fear when you get someone like that young. You bring in Sweeney, you bring in Lincoln Riley, you bring in Urban Meyer. These guys have coaching staffs in place that they could bring. When you're talking Daboll from the Bills, you're talking Arthur Smith, coordinators not necessarily going to have the firepower to bring guys in. Who knows? Maybe you're all about like, okay, I'm cool with Joe Brady and then bringing Dan Quinn in to be the defensive coordinator. Or, maybe Bill O'Brien is the new Jets offensive coordinator. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that to you guys. I couldn't do that. What do you think of Brian Schottenheimer as a possible head coach? We had Brian Schottenheimer here for so long. I don't think he's in the wheelhouse. I think the Seahawks are that good because of Russell Wilson, not because of whatever scheme Brian Schottenheimer is currently running. Broadway Sam, definitely go get receiver talent. Get me Thomas. Give Darnold and Quinnen. Give Darnold and Quinnen for Thomas if you want Trevor to come here willingly. You're saying Michael Thomas? I would gladly give Sam Darnold and Quinn Williams for Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas is the best receiver between him and Hopkins, 1A, 1B. I would move heaven and earth if it meant we could get Michael Thomas. I don't see that being the case, though. I was a bit worried about Flacco-Perriman chemistry, but Flacco's deep ball isn't what it once was. It really isn't. He used to have a cannon for an arm. You saw a little bit of it, but man, he was pretty inaccurate going downfield. Winter Bulls, Kings, Chi-Town, Chicago Bears, Bears Cub dub in the house. Cool. Good to have a Bears fan in here. How are you guys feeling? What do you guys think about Allen Robinson? I want to know about that. Is he staying with the Bears? Are you guys trading him? Is he going to be a free agent next year? What happens? No Name says the Saints are $80 million over the cap next year. So let's take a look at the Saints, because I'm curious what their cap situation is going to be, and just how. Where is it? Cap space. The Saints for next year. All right, so let's go to the calculator. So they got $8 million in cap space right now, 7.957. That's going to roll over, which means they're going to be basically $79-80 million over the salary cap. They're going to have to sign their draft class, which is going to be another $7 million. So really, they're sitting back at like $87 million under the cap or over the cap. They're going to have to move some players. The interesting thing with Michael Thomas is they don't really, if they trade him, they don't really gain any money this year. That's the issue. Yeah, I think they only gain like $2 million next year. They lose $2 million by cutting him, or $1.5 million. Not by cutting him, by trading him. Sorry. So I don't think Thomas is staying there. Really, what needs to happen is you probably need to restructure Breeze, because I think his contract's a little wonky. I think he's got a bunch of voidable years in there. Yeah, guaranteed salary was really only for this year. So he'll restructure his contract. He'll get a bunch of signing bonus that gets pushed to 1 year. Or he'll just retire. If he retires, then that team's screwed because his entire contract hits in one offseason. Then I don't know, do you just cut everyone? If you start going through the list, let's say you cut Breeze, Cam Jordan, God, it's going to cut in everyone with like potential. I don't know how the Saints could look the same next year with all the players they're going to have to cut. I'm like literally going down the list. Anyone that's not going to give them negative cap back that they could cut. Oof. I'm down to 29 players under contract right now. Let's see. What is it going to take to get them over that threshold? Jesus. All right, so we have cap space. They had to cut down to 24 players under contract just to get under the cap. They're going to restructure a ton of people. That's what it's going to wind up being. We're not going to see this go too crazy. Winter Bulls. We would trade you Mitch if we can have your high round pick. Would you take it? No, absolutely not. Get the hell out of here. I want none of that from you. I don't want to touch Trubisky with a 10-foot pole. Allen Robinson would be great for Trevor Lawrence. What about Godwin? I'm all about Godwin. I would be very much in favor of that. There's going to be some options for the Jets. There's going to be a few options at wide receiver. Let's take a look at free agency. Let's look at the wide receivers that are coming up this year. 2021. So you got A.J. Green, Allen Robinson, T.Y. Hilton, Sammy Watkins. Who else we got on this list? Will Fuller, Demarcus Robinson again. Juju Smith-Schuster is a popular name everyone's talking about. Godwin. What's the Bucks cap situation look like? What are they looking like in the future? So they've got some interesting players between Shaq Barrett and Godwin. What are they going to do? It's going to be fascinating to watch. Because what happens? What does Tom Brady's cap hit next year look like? I guess he just stays at $25 million. I would take Godwin. I don't know if the Bucks are going to let Godwin go. If they sign Godwin, maybe they can't bring back Shaq Barrett. I would go after one of those two guys, I think. Now, they have plenty of people they can cut. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for them at that point. I mean, they're still going all in for a Super Bowl, so they could find ways to keep these guys under contract, give them a big signing bonus, and push off some of the money to later years. Anthony says trade C.J. Mosley for a first-round pick. If you could get a first-round pick for C.J. Mosley, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would not even think twice about it. That contract is abysmal. Absolutely awful. No Name says they're going to re-sign Godwin. I love the dude, though. Yeah, well, that's just it. They're going all in with Tom Brady, so I think they're bringing back Shaq Barrett and Godwin. One of them will get franchised probably. The other, will sign some type of deal. Trade Sam to the Saints for Ramczyk and a fourth. That's interesting. Ramczyk, is he the right tackle? Is that who that is? Let me see. Let's go to the Pro Football Focus. Let's see how he's doing. Pretty curious. Team, the New Orleans Saints. All right. Ooh, he is playing well. He is the right tackle. So over the last 4 years, he's graded out as an 81.5, an 82.4, a 90.9, and this is his worst season at 77.3. I believe... Let's see where he's at. Ryan Ramczyk. So he's going into the final year of his contract. He's got one more year. His salary becomes fully guaranteed on March 18th. That'll be $11 million. I would definitely do that. Sam going into last year of his deal. Yeah, that's a good trade. I'd be all for that. I think the Saints would probably do that too, because that eats. Sam's got a lower cap hit next year, and if you move on from I don't even know how to pronounce it, Ramczyk, whatever his name is, they save $11 million. So let's take a look at Sam's cap number and what that would wind up being. If Sam is traded, so they basically save $6 million by doing that trade. Because, actually, no, probably even more. Holy smokes. Prorated bonus is already taken care of. So you're talking, Sam Darnold's only going to cost about $4.6 million next year if you're the Saints. So you could save like $7 million just by making that trade. That would be interesting. I like that. Let's see. Can we target T-Law's weapons from Clemson as he has a connection with them? I would love to. We would trade you Mac and his brother if we can have your high round pick. Would you take it? No, absolutely not. Our high round pick is going to be number 1 overall. That's Trevor Lawrence. You want to talk about maybe our late first round pick? We'll talk about it. I'm not trading that first round pick, though. There's no way you give it up. Jets will be more attractive than most will think for a new head coach. We need to focus on offense and free agency, sign offensive line, a good tight end, and solid receivers with Lawrence. The Jets' head coaching position is going to be very desirable if we get the first overall pick. If we don't, that makes things a lot harder, and it'll make the Jets seem like a not very good pick for this franchise. Like, if you're a head coach and you've seen what has happened with Adam Gase, you've seen what has happened with the ineptitude of trying to groom talent, do we really seem like an attractive landing spot if we have like a third pick? I don't know. I don't think so. Sam is done. Jet fans have given up on him, says Joven. I feel bad for Sam. It's not that I'm giving up on Sam. It's that his contract mixed with how this season is going. Like, there's layers to this. You don't want... If we bring in a head coach, a legitimate head coach, and he says, no, Sam is my guy. They trade out of one. Okay, I'll buy it. I won't think it's necessarily the right decision, but if this guy really believes in Sam, we'll see how it plans out. I could live with trading down. I do think we should take the quarterback. If we get the first overall pick. Now remember, this offseason we have to decide on Sam's 5th-year option. Doesn't make sense to give him $25 million a year based on the product that we've gotten from him the last few years. And this is not Sam's fault. This is the ineptitude of the offense. I think if you trade Sam Darnold to the Steelers, the Colts, the Saints, he will be a top 5 quarterback. I really do. I don't think he's broken beyond repair. I do think he is broken beyond repair for the Jets, though. I think it's going to take us way too long to build a team around him. And the gamble of, is he going to come back from the regressions that we've seen over the course of the last year? I don't know. You don't know. You can't answer that. Trevor Lawrence is a clean slate. It's a fresh 5-year contract. It's who our new head coach may want. So it's not that I'm giving up on Sam. I will root for Sam wherever he goes. But I absolutely, understand. If I'm Sam, I'm like, man, just trade me now. But man, could you imagine if the Jets trade Sam and then we stumble into a win or two? And we now have traded Sam and we don't have a quarterback, and God dang it. That would be fucking awful. Anthony says, bring back Ryan Fitzpatrick on a 1-year deal. Don't you say that, Anthony. I will punch you in the stomach. Does anyone believe Sam cannot play, or are the Jets hiding him for trade value? God, that would be interesting. If we're not playing him just to get up to the trade deadline to make a move. Man, could I see that? I don't think it's smart to trade Sam without knowing you're getting Trevor Lawrence. That's the biggest scare. I think, God forbid you trade Sam and you can't get Trevor Lawrence, and now you're just not in a position to take a quarterback, or you're in this weird position where you have to take a quarterback and you're just taking whoever it is. Oof. No bueno. Dolphins run the division, fins up. Ugh. That's what I get for bringing in a Dolphins YouTuber. I get the Dolphins fans in here. No, I'm glad to have you. I like hearing your point of view. Maybe you guys could fight with the Bills fans who usually come in here. I've had hashtag sports on here way too many times, which I'll probably have. Just play the Bills next, I think. I guess that means next week is a hashtag night. Probably. We'll get them on. Love me some Mario and Paul. What are you guys talking about? Trade Quinn in for a second-round pick? I could not trade Quinn in for a second. That's not something I'm okay with. I'd rather gamble on the hope that I'd rather gamble on him getting better than take a second-round pick. I would take a first, though. A first-round pick, because you get that 5th-year option. I would absolutely do that. Who should we take with our late first-round pick? Matt, I have no idea at this point. I'll be flat-out honest. It looks like it's going to be pick 28 or later from the Seahawks. Let's look at some mock drafts. Let's do that. That'll be kind of fun. I haven't looked at a mock draft. Let's go to Walter Football. I'm not a big fan of the Walter Football mock draft, but it always tends to be the one that pops up on Google first. 2021 mock first round. Oh, of course, they have the Jets taking Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall. Shocker. Justin Fields goes 2 to Atlanta. Jamar Chase to the Giants. Okay, so let's scroll down. Let's try to find... Where's the Jets' next pick? They're probably going to say it's 28. Ooh, wow. So this is what we're talking about, me and Matt. They have the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl on Walter Football, and they have the Jets picking 32nd overall. They say New York Jets will select running back Travis Etienne from Clemson. With Le'Veon Bell, Adam Gase marriage finally over, the Jets are so inept that they couldn't even trade Le'Veon Bell, so they cut him. Pathetic. Travis Etienne is coming off a huge year in which he rushed for 1,572 yards. He has worked to become a better receiver. I would have no problem with the Jets taking Travis Etienne. And now what's interesting is the Jets go into the second round. They have the Jets taking a safety. Javon Holland. Jets dealt one of the top safeties in the NFL to the Seahawks. Here's potential replacement for Jamal Adams. See, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think the Jets are taking safety. We just took a safety in the third round last year. So it'll be interesting. Interesting to see. Let's see. Charlie Campbell's got a mock. We got Trevor Lawrence in the first again. And then let's go down to pick 32. 17 through 32. All right, so now he has the Jets picking... Oh, yep, picking 32 again. This one he has Chris Olave, a wide receiver out of Ohio State. The Jets need more wide receiver talent. It is shocking that essentially two general managers would put that receiving corps together and think that it could be effective for Sam Darnold. The Buckeyes had other good receiving talent with more experience, but Olave, 6'1", 185 pounds, became their most dynamic playmaker during the 2019 season with 49 receptions, 849 yards, and 12 touchdowns. He was a big-time point producer and looked like he was just getting started. Olave has quality height to him with speed to get downfield. It's interesting. I want a receiver. I don't know if that's the pick. Oh, they have Travis Etienne going 17 to the Bucks. That would stink. Big Green Nick, what's up? Oh, sorry. Reading that from way long ago. Way out there. You guys saying... I'm going to screw this name up. Sewell. You guys wanted Justin Jefferson. Oh, well. Justin Jefferson, I thought he was the second best receiver or third best receiver. I was saying it was going to be Lamb, Judy, Jefferson, Ruggs. You guys are saying take some calls. Yeah, let's take some calls. Let's do that. Let's see what we can get going. Bam. Phone lines are open. Let's throw the phone number up there. I think I got to get the score out of the way. How do I get the score? Bam. Get the score out. Jets, Fins. All right.
Call from Chris from Florida.
Hey, Chris. What's up, brother? How you doing tonight?
Hey, what's going on, Matt? How are you enjoying that Jets football game?
Oh God, it's brutal. It's hard to watch. I'll be honest. it's not easy.
Yeah,
it's
man.
tough to stay awake.
Yeah. Well, this is my announcement to both you and the entire Jets fan base watching, guys. I will be suspending my NFL watching the Jets this entire season until the playoffs come up, and then watch the Super Bowl. I'm done for the season, man. I actually stopped. I didn't even watch it this past Sunday because I wanted to actually have a good Sunday to enjoy.
Oh yeah, sure. Look, it's something that I'm not. I don't hate on anyone for passing on watching Jet games right now. Like, it's been so hard to watch. It's tough.
Yeah. Dude,
is there any hope? Is there any hope? Like, no. Are you sticking with Sam Darnold, or are you more on the Trevor Lawrence bandwagon at this point?
It's pretty obvious that they're going for Trevor Lawrence. I'm against it personally because I became such a bigger fan of the Jets during the franchise era. And since Sam Darnold was, for me, the first generation of a new beginning, and I was so hyped when we drafted him. I was like, oh, my God, I'm a bigger fan more than ever. And to see this young boy be destroyed the way we did to him, I really hope that we trade him to a good team, and when he ever plays us, his first game against us, only the first game, obviously, he whoops our ass to just be like, you ruined my rookie year. You ruined my rookie contract with you guys. And I honestly root for him for that. Other than that, man, if they say Adam Gase is the next coach next year, just I'm done until the team is sold. Because I can't take this anymore, dude.
Dude, if they roll with Adam Gase next year, I think you can see a lot of fans really upset. Now, this is like crack for me. I really... I can't say I'm not going to watch because I know I'm going to. It's an abusive relationship. That's what it is.
You got to get a place for the haters.
What was that?
You got to have a place for the haters, man. We all need a place to just scream and yell because we know that they're not going to let us call in to the office because they're just going to send us straight to the hold mail.
Well, that's just it. Like, I want to have you guys here to be able to, like, just talk things out with me. Let's figure it out. It's been such a brutal friggin' stretch. I want to be here for when the Jets get good, and I'm just hoping that it's, like, coming in the near future.
I hope so as well, especially since, again, I want to be able to watch a Super Bowl game with my dad. I think it would be funny, though, because it would be a classic Jet move if the Jets decide, let's say the coach we get a new coach, right? And he's the quality coach that we think. We decide to get rid of Sam Darnold, who we still have under contract, and we get a decent pick, but then we get Trevor Lawrence, and he decides, nope, I don't want to be with you guys. He pulls an Eli Manning. I'm just thinking, I understand where people are like, oh, man, Trevor won't give up on the money, but he also comes from a winning culture, and you think about someone like Jamal Adams, who also came from a winning culture. What if they're just not? What if he just is scared to ruin his name? Look at how well and hyped Sam Darnold was, and he was just a third-round pick. You got someone like Trevor who could be like, man, I could still get a bigger contract if I'm with an actual good team. I can get a good rookie contract, which is, the safety net. And then if I show with this good team I'm talented, they'll re-sign me, or I can just re-sign with whatever team afterwards for the big money. That's how I see it, possibly. And then you just lost your chance of having any talented quarterback. I hope the coach we do get does keep facing Sam, but you never know. I think it'd be easier to keep Sam Darnold and load up on massive weapons with that first-round pick. But that's me. I hope the Jets miss it too. Love you, show, man. I hope everything's so good with you and your family. And I can't even say go whatever. Fire Adam, and F the F Johnson family too.
Chris, thank you so much for the call, and you have been ejected from the cockpit. We'll take some more phone calls. Phone lines are open. Got about 12 minutes left in the show. Get some of your thoughts. Daniel says, Gangrene David already stated if Gase is the head coach next year, he will not go to a single game. I would probably go to a game. I still want to see them.
Call from
Elias.
Hey, what's good, brother? How you doing tonight?
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, man?
I'm trying to hang in there. What's on your mind?
Just a couple comments to what you've gone over so far. So that Dolphins game, dude, I found the perfect way. I almost fell asleep. I literally barely watched any of the third quarter. I was just on FaceTime helping my friend change strings on a guitar, and I just couldn't care less. But the way I found it entertaining is I had the game on my computer on some sketchy website that streams sports, and then I had this reaction stream. So I think I had the Let's Talk Jets radio guys.
Sure.
They're just making the funniest comments. I lined it up, and that's the only way it's watchable. I swear to God, man, I haven't laughed that hard when I saw Joe Flacco take a 28.
Oh my God, dude, I was dying. I reached out to the Let's Talk Jets guys today. I wanted to see if they wanted to join either the Monday or Tuesday show at some point. Hopefully I get to
for sure.
Yeah, hopefully I get to have them.
Yeah,
on.
they were chugging drinks every time they ran the ball with 24 on first down or something. It was
oh
great.
my God.
But,
I did a stream with, I think it was Gangrene David last year, where I did that. There was a little beer count on the bottom of the screen. I was like, oh my God, I'm shot.
That's awesome. Yeah, so some of the stuff you guys have gone over. So I actually would be interested in doing the swing for Joe Brady. I just feel like, with McVay back in 17 with the Rams, he was kind of that young guy who was kind of out under the radar. I think he was with the football team or something. So, and then he became just a star. So I think he had so much success with Burrow in college. Burrow had probably the best collegiate quarterback season of all time, and he has NFL experience in New Orleans. So I think that's really intriguing. And then speaking of New Orleans, that I would do the trade for Donald for Ramczyk in a heartbeat. He's a top 5 tackle in the league probably, and he plays the right side too, which is what we need. So, and with that, you could take Trevor Lawrence and not have to deal with not being able to get Penei Sewell or something. And
Yeah,
also, I feel like we're actually a team that's very attractive for a head coach because it's a bogus reporting structure, so the coach gets way more power than they should because they get to report straight to the owner. And the owners are clueless, so it's like what happened in Atlanta where Dan Quinn was there for so long, even though he shouldn't have been. It's kind of like that with Adam Gase, like even if you suck, or like with Dallas, like with Jason Garrett, like even if you'll be there for forever. So I think a coach would be really intrigued for that. And of course, people are calling this kid the next Andrew Luck, at least from a prospect standpoint. So I think that could be great to bring in a guy.
Yeah, look, the Jets are going to be an attractive landing spot if we get that first overall pick. If we don't get the first overall pick, say we're picking second or third or fourth, I think it's a whole nother ball game. I think if you may be forced to go with Sam Darnold, I think that I like Sam, but I think that'll deter head coaches for sure. Joe Brady is one that I would like us to go after. I think he's smart enough. He's trending in the right direction. I don't know who you pair him with because I feel like you got to try and pair him with someone that might be a little bit older. I don't mind the offensive head coach with like a more rough and rugged defensive coordinator, kind of like a McVay and who's their defensive coordinator out there? Wade Phillips. Or if you have the Adam Gase, if you have the offensive mind, then him paired with Greg Williams, not the worst thing.
I'm cool with that as long as it's not just like Adam Gase clearly knows nothing about defense, doesn't care about defense. Like I still want a head coach who's the defense guy is not gonna be the defense head coach. He's gonna be the defensive play caller. That's kind of how I think about it. But the head coach will still be in charge of all the personnel and stuff like that, Which is that's the issue. We have like two head coaches who are so like this year they both suck at their job, but they're both like communication's not there, and
I want a head coach that's actually a head coach, not like an offensive.
Exactly. Not
I don't want it segmented. I understand the thought process. Like if you could have had the head coach of the defense, the head coach of the offense, and both units looked all right, sure. But this offense is so inept that it's making the defense look worse than it is. And the defense is also making the offense look bad because they can't stop a nosebleed. It's just this like negative feedback loop that just kind of keeps happening.
But
dude,
last thing,
go on, quick.
Last thing, what's Adam Gase's next job?
You're out of here! You've been ejected from the cockpit. I heard it though. What was Adam Gase's next job in the league? Janitor, jockstrap cleaner. Not a head coach, not an offensive coordinator. I don't know if he'll get another coaching gig in the NFL. Like he's been so bad. If they go 0-16, and that's followed, like you look at his Miami career, you look at his Jets career, I think that's enough for people to be like, I'm good. I'm all right. I don't really need him. Gase was a lame duck coach when he was hired. Now he's just a duck. Says Kenneth. Look, I didn't like Gase when we signed him. I thought it was a mistake, and it is all coming full circle now. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm rooting for the guy. I said during last season, I hope Adam Gase is here in 2021 because that means he did something right and Sam Darnold is turning things around. That's my only vote of confidence. But after what I've seen, I do not want anything. Can Joe trade Gase? Tommy R. He could. He's not going to. There's no way anyone's taking him. Who the hell's taking Adam Gase? Seriously. Broadway, what do you think about trying a Jet favorite like Pennington a shot at being coach? I would say Pennington as a quarterback's coach might make more sense first. I wouldn't bring him in as an overall head coach. I just think that's where I'd go with that. Tommy says maybe Gase could be a ball boy. Jay Farrington, now y'all know why the Dolphins fired him. Yeah. Tell me about it. Brutal. Anthony says, bring back Herm Edwards. Love me some Herm. He's not coming. Hashtag, what's up, buddy? You guys coming on the channel next week? What do we got? I think we got you guys next week. Let me pull up the schedule. Jets schedule. Yeah, we got you guys next week. So I Be prepared for a text. He says, we're available. Yes. Perfect. Both you guys are more than welcome to come on. If both you guys want to come on. If not, whoever I can get, I'm all about having the two of you on.
Mark.
Mark, what's good, brother? How you doing tonight?
Very well, thank you. So I kind of jumped in late. I wanted to get your thoughts on the Steve McClendon trade.
Sure. I'm all for it. Look, it's not for a whole lot. We're getting a 2022 6th-round pick, and we're sending them a 2023 7th-round pick plus McClendon. So it's virtually like a non-factor. But you're saving about $500,000 in cap space by trading him at this point in the season. Even just getting anything for him, you're not bringing him back next year. So just doing him a solid, giving him a shot at potentially being on a Super Bowl winning team last year of his contract. I think we did hit him a solid the same way we did a solid for Le'Veon Bell by releasing him. Although I'm sure if we could have gotten anything, we would have gotten something for him. I don't know. What do you think? How did you feel about the McClendon deal?
Well, I thought he was a good defensive player. And,
sure.
I don't understand why they really had to let him go. But overall, if we want the money, then we get to stock the money and stock whatever picks we can get and then start fresh. McClendon seemed like a vocal guy. He talked to the media a lot. But, of course, maybe he wanted a trade. I couldn't really tell. It happened really quickly. So good for him, and then let's see what the Jets can do with it.
Yeah, I definitely want to see the Jets do well, and at this point in the season, they're committing to the tank. They're just getting as many resources as possible going into next season. McClendon is part of that. If they trade Crowder, if they trade Quinn Williams, Sam Darnold, Marcus May, all these players could be on the block to get moved out to make way for whoever our new head coach is going to be. We just have to make sure we get the first overall pick. That's the biggest thing. Sam, I don't think is getting traded by the deadline. I think it's going to be something that happens after the season once we know we have Lawrence locked in.
Gotcha. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much for the call. Solid questions all around. We got the Bills fans coming in. They're a little salty. I heard they got rolled. That's what it sounds like. You guys just missed DouglieDoWrong. He was solid. He was on for like a whole hour. But guys, what does it look like? What does it look like? Derek goes, we coming. Oh, God, you and your goddamn Dolphins doing well, and my Jets doing poorly. Just terrible. Well, guys, that's going to be it for me tonight. It was fun. It was a good time hanging out with you guys. Make sure you tune in next week. I'll have #sports on the Monday show, most likely. I'll reach out to him. I'll see what we're doing. But it was fun. Thank you for DouglieDoWrong to come on the show, on the channel. Check out his link in the description down below if you want to follow him. My name's Ryan. I was your pilot tonight. I'll see you guys next week. I'll see you tomorrow for the Talking Jets panel, 8 o'clock, guys. If you want to tune into that, JETA.